dyslexia, okay?
Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
Welcome, foolish mortals.
It is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that we welcome you tonight.
Obscure Disney Podcast.
Brought to you by Monsters Inc. Tattoo Parlor. Experts of art on fur, scales, and mucous membranes.
To all who have come to this podcast, welcome. You're listening to the Obscure Disney Podcast. I am Steven.
And I'm Ryan.
And with new episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday, why not get a free annual pass by subscribing to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search for Obscure Disney Podcast. I almost messed that one up. Could you tell?
I couldn't tell. It sounded great.
Lies.
I think
Liza Minnelli.
I think it's fair to point out that we're not giving out Disney annual passes. You're getting an annual pass to the podcast.
Could you imagine? Oh, that would get us into so much trouble.
I would love to be able to hand out annual passes, though.
To myself?
Yeah. We ain't sharing.
I will take one each year for the rest of my life.
I'm down with that.
So today we are going to talk about two of my very, very favorite things.
Oh.
First off, I would like to say we have a new recording board.
Oh.
Y'all, I am so dang excited. When we first started this podcast, we're like, we're going to be so cutting edge. We're going to be all technical and get digital recorders and record it all, you know.
Did we say that?
I thought this all in my head.
Okay.
For decades now, I've had DJ equipment just stashed away in basements and storage sheds,
yes.
and I've moved things dozens and dozens and dozens of times with all this sound equipment. And so the idea of getting something digital sounded so exciting to me.
Sure.
And I was like, this is going to be sweet. You can just do it right from one little laptop and you're good to go.
Right.
It sounded like crap.
Oh.
It did not make me happy. I was so frustrated dealing with the technical aspect of it while trying to record the shows. I was bouncing back and forth between 3 monitors and constantly trying to wake things up. We've lost numerous shows that we thought we recorded, and they came out literally completely like modulated so that there was breaks every second. There would be a second break.
It's very disheartening to record a show and then have Steve say,
it was horrific.
have Steve say, well, we don't have that show. And you're like, we just talked about it.
Yep. Concept gone.
Yeah.
And then you try to do it again and you're like, I totally don't care anymore.
I've checked out. I don't even care about this subject anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, super, super excited. We're going old school, getting an analog, getting recording boards. And for me, it means that I can literally just like sit in the corner and speak my little heart out. Makes me happy.
He's got something to say.
Second thing, the wonderful world of color.
Oh, sing it.
So magical, so beautiful. I make up my own words because I don't remember how the words actually go.
That's good.
Is that about right?
That was it, yeah.
So happy. That is by far my very favorite thing Disney company has ever done.
Right.
The concept behind it was mind-blowing to me. When I first heard that this was potentially a thing that somebody had created and it existed in this world,
and it did,
I was outside my mind.
Outside
my mind.
Well, what's funny is that it was your first trip to Disney.
Yeah.
And first trip as an adult. You went as a kid.
Yeah, and
you remembered very minimal things.
Dumbo. I remember Dumbo.
What'd you call me?
But the Dumbo I remember, I don't think is even close to the Dumbo ride that exists today, right? There's been so many upgrades.
It's been moved a few times, and they've changed out controls and things like that.
The controls, I think, is mainly what I remember.
But in general, it's relatively the same. I mean, how difficult is it to change a circular
Yeah, but back
ride?
in the 80s, there was a lot of concrete around. I mean, there's still concrete, but there's not as many bushes and flowers as there was today. So
visually, it's changed a bit.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the queue line is completely changing for Dumbo now.
Well, in Florida, it's completely different.
It's not even a line.
It's not a line.
It's like a digital line.
It's a gaggle of folks just playing around.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
But we decided that I would take you back to Disneyland because I'm a Disney fanatic, and I love taking people for their first time. It's always exciting to see people be excited about things. But you said specifically that you didn't want anything spoiled. You wanted to get on things and be surprised.
Yeah.
Which worked to our detriment at least once when I put you on the Tower of Terror. But I knew, knowing you and your love of lighting and music and that kind of thing, that World of Color was going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
But
And Disney was running a 30-second commercial that plays during the summertime, and in that they showed literally like a second of the World of Color fountains.
Oh.
And that's all that I knew had existed.
Oh, you
And-
cheated.
Well, I didn't mean to. Thank you, ABC, for spoiling it right there when you're not even expecting it.
Right.
And that was the moment that I turned off the TV. I called you and I said, or did you tell me about it?
I think I said we have to stay for the night shows in both parks. You need to see Fantasmic at Disneyland, and you need to see World of Color in California Adventure.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to blow your mind. I didn't realize that literally I would turn to you after the show and it looked like your mind had been blown out.
Oh,
like,
completely.
just wide-eyed, open mouth, just standing there. And I was like, oh, I think I broke him.
Now, everybody, you know what I'm talking about when you have that Disney moment.
The Disney moment.
You just had the most magical day, and everything's gone. Because it was magical that first time. There was nobody in the park.
We went at a very slow time.
I didn't even know what a Disney queue was that first time we went, because there literally wasn't even. I remember going into Haunted Mansion, you pointed to the side and said, "That's the line over there." And I was like, "What do you mean? We're walking straight up?"
We walked right up the stairs.
I think we actually walked around a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it was. So that was magical, and then capped off with World of Color at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Literally, we stood there after the show ended, and now we stood there after the show ended, and we literally stood. It took me like 5 minutes before we could move or start talking.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is now I think Disney's actually built that into the show, where they give you that extra 5 minutes of like, and they put they now use World of Color through lasers and because they know that people need that moment for the
people like Steve need that moment before they get trampled by strollers on the way out.
But yeah, in 2007, when Disney decided that they needed to fix the problems that they had created in the park, World of Color was announced that they were going to be transforming that pier lagoon area into the World of Color, and $75 million later.
Was that all?
And this is the thing that I absolutely think is amazing about Disney as a whole, is they say, do you know what I think would be fun? And they come up with like this magical idea of, yeah, we're just going to throw $75 million and make the most incredible water show ever created on the face of the earth, for everybody to enjoy. And that was 2007. We're now in 2018, so a few other people are trying to get into the game a little bit. Universal just came out with their new water show. It only has like 120 fountains in their show with additional projections and whatnot.
How many does Disney have?
1,200 fountains.
That's a lot.
That are all LED lit from the bottom, all choreographed to Disney music, with mist water projection screens, with those absolutely perfect moments that they completely get you with every single time. Fantastic.
For anyone that hasn't seen it, you just think of the Bellagio fountains in Vegas, but with Disney magic and then on steroids.
I think that was literally how it was created. They went to the creators of the
Bellagio fountains?
Yeah, the people that created that fountain. They went to them and said, we want this, but better and in Disney style. And they said, oh, we gotcha.
It'll cost you, but we gotcha.
Yeah, interesting thing, though, because when they announced or when they were doing the show, they obviously had to like pre-run the show a couple of times. And Paradise Pier Hotel overlooks that area. So it was leaked onto YouTube before it was ever released to the general public.
Oh, I hate spoilers.
Do you know how pissed off I would be had I gone onto YouTube and saw an unfinished version of that before?
Well, nothing compares to actually standing there and watching it, though. Especially if you get awfully close to the water, you get real wet. Like they're not kidding when they say people standing nearest to the water
will get wet. I think it's will.
Will? Is it will get wet?
People standing near the show will get wet.
Well, you will get wet because those fountains shoot up way high and his water's got to come down somewhere.
Ryan's poor glasses, that first time I took him, or he took me, it were literally completely covered over. He couldn't even see the show anymore because they were so covered.
My shirt got wet too, so I didn't have anything dry to wipe them off with. Shirt. So I'm like, well, I'm sure it's real pretty, but I can't see nothing.
Yeah.
But it is a emotional experience on top of everything else. Disney weaves in their amazing music from all of their features. and they weave in all of the imagery from their movies. There are parts of the show where people are laughing, crying, gasping. Like, it is a full experience of emotion. Like you said, it's that Disney moment that a lot of people have where you're just like, oh, you got me right in the feels, and I didn't even realize it was coming.
Totally didn't even know. And the fire cannons during Pirates.
Oh, and they launch fireballs into the sky.
Yeah.
It is an experience by far. But that isn't to say that everything's been perfect with World of Color, unfortunately. A couple things.
Almost perfect.
Almost perfect. There are a couple things. First off, something a little bit more fun. They thought for a while that they would characterize the actual fountains that do the show, and
not every idea's a winner. They tried.
So they decided to make enamel pins of the individual fountains that
all 1,200 of them.
Each individual one. Honestly, they probably just did a run of 1,200 and then stopped because it wasn't that great of an idea. But they named them stupid things and tried to give them personalities, but in general, the imagery just kind of looked like a sprinkler head with a face on it. And it's just not enough to sustain a character, I don't think. And the names they gave them were dumb. Like, they sound more like utilitarian names for someone that maybe was planning a show versus giving them actual names.
Oh, okay.
So
I could see Imagineers actually doing that, though.
Right. So let's imagine what these names conjure up in your mind as imagery. So they had the single water whip.
Oh.
I think almost Indiana Jonesy with that, like a water whip.
They whip you back and forth. They whip you back and forth. They whip.
Anyway.
Is that not the song? No.
You whip your hair back and forth? Is that what you're
close
saying?
enough. I took that part out, though.
Oh, okay. They whip the water back and forth.
They whip the water back and forth.
Then you have the butterfly, the chaser, the dancer, the dual water whip. That's when Indy gets 2 whips. The flower spout, the geyser, and the grid.
Huh.
And they're so technical that it's like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah.
If they had one Eugene, you're like, oh, I want the Eugene fountain.
You think that would be a good name for a fountain?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of a name for a fountain that wasn't grid.
Grid style.
I don't want to have a fountain named Grid.
I remember actually seeing those there once. We saw them there one time.
Themselves.
Yeah. It doesn't compare nearly to the Worlds of Color pin that I got with the spinning Mickey wheel with the color in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, now that thing is... that was my first Disney pin, actually,
it was. Right? And then the poor little fountains just didn't stand a chance against the other World of Color merchandise in general.
Yeah.
They're not fun. Like I said, they kind of look like sprinkler heads with faces on them. Not super impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah. I hope the Imagineers at least got a set of those pins.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
That might be actually what they did them for, was like for the Imagineers.
They're like, we'll try to sell them to everybody else, but really
and we got an extra 100, so we'll just throw them in a shop.
There you go. The other kind of stumble I felt like they had was during the anniversary show that they put together. Do you remember the anniversary show?
Oh my gosh, that poor thing just ruined World of Color. Like, I obviously have such a high regard for that show that when they do anything to it, it better up the value. And unfortunately, that 60th anniversary show didn't.
It wasn't quite up to par. It was, I lovingly call it the Neil Patrick Harris hour, because they put Neil Patrick Harris, whom I'm a fan of.
He's amazing.
And him and Mickey kind of had like a dialogue thing going on, and they wrote a new song for it, all of which is fine, but then they took out everything else that made it a fun show. There wasn't a lot of imagery from their movies. There was no other music from their movies.
And it was a lot of black and white.
It was a lot of black and white.
For a World of Color show.
A world of lack of color show. So
I think Neil Patrick Harris saw the show and just said, are you sure you want to keep going with this?
You know what? If they offered me to do a show in the World of Color Pavilion, I'd just be like, it's great.
Yeah, I would.
Keep it there for the rest of time.
That's true.
Do I get royalties every time it plays?
Even if it didn't.
Yeah. So it wasn't great. I'm glad that they went back
Yeah.
to the World of Color show. I wonder what kind of feedback they got on that. Do you think we were the only ones that didn't like it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it wasn't as fun, I think, as the
No.
World of Color show. But the other version got way better, which was the
Oh my
holiday
gosh.
show.
Yeah.
Is it the Seasons of Light
The
show?
Seasons of Light 2017 show.
Right.
Oh, it was what the world needed. Was that show that season?
What the world needs now is a
the-
holiday show. But I'll be honest, when we first started watching the holiday show, which they do, I think it starts probably in November. Is that when they would start doing a holiday show?
Yeah, sure. October, probably.
Oh, all right.
Just kidding. It's as soon as they take down Halloween, right?
Okay.
So, shortly.
So shortly after Halloween, they start doing a holiday show, and I have a bone to pick about Christmas music.
Mm.
Ain't nobody made a new Christmas song in a long time, and so I get kind of burned out on the same Christmas songs. Like, people go, "I'm putting out a Christmas album," and you're like, "Great, we get to hear Jingle Bells again." Like, give us some new songs. But anyway, that's just me complaining about Christmas music.
Mariah
But
Carey did in the 90s.
well, come on, Mariah, where's the new song? So I went into it thinking, okay, it'll probably be a bunch of Christmas standards that everyone's already heard, and I can deal. And I really wasn't that impressed for the first 2/3 of the show. I was like, yeah, it's Christmas music.
It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. But then you get to that last third, and Disney pours on the magic at that last third of the show.
Oh my god.
And it just starts building and building and building, and the effects keep going up and up and up, and the water and the lighting all starts coming together. They start launching foam hearts into the air that just
yes.
float around, and it is just as close to a religious experience in a Disney park that you can get.
This is the church I want to go to.
The Church of the World
Church
Color.
of Disney World of Color Christmas show.
Don't give them any ideas.
I would pay
They're
tithing.
buying out everything,
They already get 10% of my money.
if not more. So the holiday show, if you have a chance to see the holiday show, it is well worth it. Even if you're not, a super Christmas fan
Yeah.
or a Christmas music fan, that end is just, it's worth the price of admission to see the end of that show.
I don't think we know that it's the same show each year. Do you think they change it at all?
With that ending, I don't know how they should or could change that.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
And we know that Disney's not a fan of changing shows, because that's part of the complaint that we've had about the World of Color, is the fact that the only complaint I really have is that you've seen this show so many times, and it's unlike Phantasmic, where there's live actors that can change the show's makeup each night.
Right.
But that one is so technical that it literally is the exact same show. So we thought that it would be really fun if they put in Brave when Brave was out for that
Just
season.
for a minute.
Yeah, that was out one season. But then if you were to take out the Pocahontas scene and then put in like what was the
Moana.
Yeah, Moana. Oh my gosh.
It would be perfect for
How is
World of
Moana
Color.
not in the World of Color?
Right? It's all about her relationship with the water. Let's put
Seriously.
in, you're welcome. Put it in here, right? Like, Moana would be awesome in World of Color.
I just want like a 20-minute Moana show, actually.
well-
like the encore? No, I'm just kidding.
That would be a little much. Let's just show the whole
it's
movie.
never too much for me.
Okay. But yeah, they're not a fan of changing things as far as World of Color goes, and I don't know how difficult it is to change it, so I don't want to be too judgy.
Yeah.
But it's been the same for almost...
It would be fun, and it does feel like it has been designed in a way that you could take out a segment and put a segment in.
Sure, there are some breaks where they could switch things.
And I guess, honestly, most families probably only go to Disneyland, I would say, probably every year, 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
So it may be that they need to keep the show the same. But it's been the same show that we've seen since 2012.
Yeah.
So that's
And I ain't
been...
complaining about it. It's a good show.
It's a great show, yeah, that's true.
We just think that there could also be some switches.
Even
made.
just 1 or 2 updates of the shows that are out at the time would be fun. Do you think Winnie the Pooh is going to make it in right now? The answer is no. It's not even worth debating. It's completely...
But also, we have to ask people for something at this point.
Oh.
We have to ask them to start wearing your glow with the show stuff to this show.
Oh, we are going to need to talk about this.
Because I love the glow with the show merchandise. If you don't know what it is, which apparently nobody does because no one has it, it's these amazing lighted accoutrements that people can wear and have that is literally synced up to the show. So while you're standing there watching World of Color and it goes Under the Sea with Ariel, all the lights in these items change to blue, and they switch between blue and green, and it's...
Yeah, they literally can create 26 different shades of blue. In just blue inside your ears.
I can name 26 shades of blue.
Disney Imagineers can.
Well,
and they can control your ears that way, and they can control where you are in the show to make it. So in order to make the effect really work, there needs to be thousands of them on there. There are clips on YouTube where they've done promos showing what it looks like when multiple people have them on at the same time.
Right.
And we've said before that they should have like a section up front that would be for like glow with the show.
Yeah.
And potentially over time that area might grow.
Right.
But that has yet to happen.
Because literally in the promos, like they show like waves of color going across the entire audience. Or when, there's an explosion or fire, all the ears go red, and it's amazing. And I'm not a big fan of the ears in general. Not even just the glow with the show ears, but the ears in general. I have a weird small head where things don't fit it correctly, and I look like a toddler wearing a bike helmet. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
And so when they came out with other things that are glow with the show, I'm all about that. I have my glove that changes colors. I have my magic wand, and the magic wand also, you can point it at other glow with the show stuff and change the colors on it.
Oh, it is awesome.
It's fun stuff, and I'm so sad that more people don't get involved with the glow with the show stuff.
I kind of think it's on them, though. You have all of those booths that all the way around the pier, and not one of them is showing any of the glow with the show stuff.
Right.
Even when we seek it out, it's very hard for us to find it.
Well, and people don't seem to understand it when we're even wearing it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember waiting for Phantasmic, which it does also react to Phantasmic.
It does.
People were watching me, and somebody finally said, "What is this that you're wearing?" I'm like, "Oh, this is the glow with the show stuff. Look, I can change the colors." And like everybody around us said, "Oh, I didn't realize what that was. That's really neat. Where do they sell those?"
The only reason I know what it is because you found it somewhere and told me about it.
Right.
Even that, as many times as we go to the parks, if you had not told me what it was, I would have no idea, or would I know how to find them.
So we're saying we're blaming Disney?
We've seen a cart that sold the stuff every now and then.
Sure.
But even that, it just looks like a blinking cart at Disney.
They don't explain it.
No, and they had a video out, but it ain't enough. And they only put it out right before the show. If they had a booth,
they need a glow store.
They do, and I was really worried that it was a concept that was going by the wayside. But they do have version 3 that just came out this last Christmas season. That they are now showing that it interacts with the map and when you watch stuff on TV as well.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, seriously, shut up. How amazing!
I didn't say anything. Don't tell me to shut up.
The fact that you can watch stuff on TV, turn on your app, and it controls your ears. Like, this is phenomenal.
It's so neat.
But yeah, to have something even more masculine of sorts that would be like
a baseball cap or something.
Because we tried to make our own that were that way.
Yeah.
And they were fun. They still, the controls at that point in time, the control pack was really big. The battery pack was really big.
And heavy.
Yeah. If they made them USB rechargeable even, so you don't have to carry around.
That's a better idea.
Yeah,
why don't they have them rechargeable? That makes way more
sense. Well, and if
sense.
they did, and if they could even if they sold them for more money, even if they, or if they even sold them online for that, even if they had created them and then sold them.
Do they sell them online?
No, I don't know.
I haven't seen anything online for them.
I mean, you can literally just buy the ears online, but you can't really buy all the cool things that we're talking about.
Right.
But I'm saying if they had a super cool, because I could maybe see why you say I can't put outside a whole park area, you know what I mean, like a section inside the park for it.
Yeah.
We can't do that, but if you could at least sell them online, that would be super cool.
I think it would be awesome to have a dark store.
Yeah.
That around the top, you didn't have to have all the ears on, but around the top have a bunch of the hats hooked up so that people can see and like play show music so they can see the ears light up in accordance with the show music and go, oh, that's what they do. And not only that, but as you walk around the park, they change colors. If you walk into a Halloween themed area, they go orange. When you get on dark rides, they automatically go off because they know you're in a dark ride. Like, these are really smart technology
that they already built and have
that I
inside the park.
feel like they're not doing a good enough job letting people know what they do.
Absolutely, they're not.
So y'all get on it. Start glowing with the show.
Well, we can't even find the glove or the wands or anything else anymore.
I know.
You can only find, even the ears, you can only find like 6 of them on a display.
Sad.
That's it.
But my wand is super cool. Just going to throw this in here because when you're standing there waiting for a show, it'll play little music cues as you're waiting for the show, counting down to when it starts.
It does do that.
Like when you're waiting for World of Color, it goes do 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 do, and you're like
Phantasmic too.
And Phantasmic, it does the Phantasmic song. I'm like, this is awesome, and I had no idea it did it.
It sings to you.
Oh, jeez. Come on, people. Let's glow with the show a bit more.
Fantastic.
But this has been a quick, not as quick, but a quick discussion about World of Color and our amazing new setup for audio that Steve's super excited about.
Super happy.
Get on watching these amazing shows, and if you have your glow with the show stuff, wear it to the parks. It's fun to wear, and it's fun to see other people wearing. But until next time, follow my perfectly sculpted 2-finger Disney point to the exit, and we'll see you next time on the Obscure Disney Podcast.